Walsh Bay was named after Henry Dean Walsh, Engineer-in-Chief of the Sydney Harbour Trust, who designed and constructed the wharves, doors, roads and hydraulic systems. It was built between 1912 and 1921 as a port equipped to handle steamships and motor vehicles. It is a standard modular timber design and is constructed of turpentine piles that reach down to almost 45 metres below sea level. The hydraulic power system is one of the most important developed in the 19th century. The Walsh Bay Wharves Precinct was listed on the New South Wales State Heritage Register in 1999 and is the last intact complex of its type in the world. In 1970 it ceased operations, leading to its deterioration and abandonment, and in this state became a mecca for the arts. Today in the precinct we see exclusive residential apartments, office spaces for important firms, theatre and performance spaces, bars, restaurants and cafes. People come to the area for a range of activities, from fishing to exercise, tourism, sightseeing, gastronomy and theatre productions. Piers 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 are closed for the New South Wales Government Walsh Bay Arts Precinct renovations due for completion in 2020. Despite lots of new development, we found that the setting of the place had been retained in many of the old buildings, the decking, the bollards, the rail tracks. Many of the fixtures and objects which contribute to the cultural significance remain on display, are incorporated into the interior design choices and remain an important aesthetic of the area. The new design was respectful to the history of Walsh Bay as it echoed its previous uses in the decor, design, and by highlighting original artefacts from its port days. It also honours the traditional form of the wharves in some of the buildings. For example, the wool chute, reused in Pier 8-9. The timber from the demolishing of Pier 6-7 was used for the apartments, and pile caps placed on concrete bollards in place of where they used to sit. Some unoriginal design choices were visible too, but have emotional heritage. The new developments have used traditional techniques and materials for the conservation and renovation of some fabrics, for example iron reinforcements. The adaptive use of some of the buildings, for instance the original structure, is being used as apartments or a cafe, we found was done in most cases respectfully and was a good way to preserve the existing structure. Downsides of the new development are that we think it distorts some of the physical characteristics of the original wharves. For example, we think the facade of the apartments are too modern and could have been more respectful to the original architecture and style. We find that where the area has been developed somewhat socially exclusive. For instance, the price of the apartments is quite high. Some of the apartments restrict access to the wharf for the public. Many of the cafes and restaurants are expensive and exclusive as well. We think the new design has enhanced the cultural significance of the area by retaining so many old features, objects and buildings, but also creating similar forms and shapes in new buildings to match the historical structure of the area. In some cases, a mockery was made of its history with imitation historical objects. By developing Walsh Bay into an interesting public space with many activities, it has injected life into the area, and by creating an arts precinct, it has enriched people's lives and Sydney as a whole.